at noon as well as 3, Tim.
All right.
Okay. That being said, my name is Russell Clark. I've been working with Sage 300 CRE, aka Timberline, for 20 plus years. Today we're going over the executive dashboards. Just real quick, again, I work with Alliance Solutions Group. Hopefully most of you are business partner or our clients. If not, welcome. We're based in Florida, and we have offices in California and Texas, and we cover pretty much this region in yellow, and then we have clients in the Caribbean as well. So if you need to, I will put this slide up at the end as well for our contact information. We got, the 888 number and the website. But I didn't want to go through a long, lengthy PowerPoint with you. I wanted to just jump right in. So the Sage executive dashboards actually comes in a couple different components. There is a lot of information that's available out there on the Sage knowledge base. So, today, if you're really interested in implementing this, you could go to your Sage knowledge base, and really all you have to do is type in Sage SQL Gateway. This should look the same for you guys. I'm on the partner portal, but the knowledge base should be the same. And you basically just put that in. That will get you to this knowledge base article that will contain basically all your resources. So you'll be able to download the files, look at the system requirements. And I'm not going to go in the system requirements in detail, but what you do need to know, and I guess a good takeaway from this, is that there are two components with the executive dashboards. One is the Sage SQL Gateway. And what that does is that installs or utilizes a Microsoft SQL database, and it replicates your Timberline database into the Microsoft SQL database. And you can schedule that to occur in the evening, the middle of the night, or early morning, or whenever. So you're always working with information that's a day older, or just got refreshed that morning. So it's not live data. I do know they've kicked around some ideas in the future of having a live sync, but as of right now, this is just, again, it's a once a day or once an evening upgrade. You will need at least Sage 300 CRE version 13.1 or higher. So again, if you're on 14 or 15, you're fine. And you do need SQL Server 2012 or Server 2014. And again, I'm not going to get all nerdy on you and going through all the details. Just know that this documentation is there, and you can give it to your IT guys. And if they read it, they can help implement it with you. The other component is the executive dashboard. So what's happening in the system, and I'll show you this to you all here in a few minutes, just giving you a brief overview. What's happening in the system is you're replicating your data from your pervasive Timberline Sage 300 CRE database. If I use the word Timberline, I kind of drop back and forth between those two, so I apologize. But it's the same exact product. It will replicate your data in multiple databases. You can have multiple databases in the Microsoft SQL database as well. And what happens then is the data is read by the executive dashboard in the Microsoft SQL database. So again, it is a separate program that you provide a link to the Microsoft SQL database, and you're able to then get these views that have drill down capabilities in an executive dashboard feature. So So that's all the knowledge base articles. I downloaded everything, obviously in order to install it. Um, Again, you can, with your IT guys, you can download and install both the Sage SQL Gateway program plus the Microsoft SQL Server Express program, which is a free download and install. Well, Sage has bundled that, so you can download it depending on the type of machine you have, whether it's 64-bit operating system, 32-bit. You'll get the reference guide and release notes. And again, this is all great information. But really, one of the things I guess I should have started with was this this one-page overview of everything I just said. So basically, it talks about, this is how we get started. You get your Sage SQL Server Gateway up and running, and you get it installed and you get it synced so that it's pulling your company's data and replicating that data into what's commonly referred to as a data warehouse. So in the data warehouse, your Microsoft SQL database, you're also going to install your Sage Executive Dashboard on a local workstation. It could be on a server or workstation, depending on how you connect. Now, it does not have to be installed on a computer that is has Timberline installed, on Sage 300 CRE client installed. You can actually install it on any computer that is in your network or on your domain. So again, this is a handy dandy little flow chart that basically walks you step by step, just in a broad overview of what you need to do in order to get your Sage SQL Gateway up and running. This is step one, and then get your Sage Executive Dashboards installed. So that's kind of the information about what's required. Those are some places where you get the resources. So once you get that installed, and again, you install the SQL database and you get that all synced up, then Timberline Sage 300 has the actual program that provides the administration for this Sage SQL Gateway. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that. You log on to basically, this is where your SQL server was installed, and you basically just, it'll retain that once you log in once. And again, this is going to be for probably your IT administrator or your database administrator, depending on the size of your company. So I've set up a warehouse. Again, that's the Microsoft SQL database. And I can just call it sample data just to keep it simple, because I'm working with the Timberline sample data. And what I've done is I've scheduled this to replicate at 3 a.m. So every morning at 3 a.m., the service will kick off. And basically, I don't know if you guys are going through this, and you can see it goes ahead and starts the replication. It sleeps until 3 a.m., then it starts the replication, and it pulls in, 46,000, rows or tables extracted. If you have any error messages, it tells you. So again, this is all administrative behind the scenes, but just so you get an understanding of what's going on here. You create this connection. So this is my connection to my Timberline database. I've created my warehouse, and then I've told them to sync and talk to each other. One of the things you could do, depending on how security conscious you are, is you have the ability to exclude tables. So this is great. I want to see AP data in the dashboard. I want to see AR information. I want to see job costs, but I don't necessarily want anybody to have access to my payroll information or my cash management information, because then they might be able to access that through the dashboard and drill down and pull that up. So this is a list of all your tables in your Timberline database, and you could come in and just tell it anything that starts with PRs, payroll, and you could just go through and start checking the boxes and say, do not replicate that. So that will exclude those tables so that you're not pulling that sensitive data. Even though it's still based on security in the executive dashboard, you're not comfortable with the payroll data getting dumped into the data warehouse where, you know, technically your IT guy would have access to it. So again, like I said, the SQL gateway as well as the dashboards do have security. So you set up users. I set up myself as a user. And then when I set this user up, I set it up to utilize Windows authentication. So by the mere fact that I'm logged into my computer as myself, it will automatically apply these security settings. And so again, just like if anybody's familiar with the Sage 300 CRE security, you have users and then you have roles. And so you basically assign a user to a role. So I have the report designer role, so I could actually create custom reports. And then these roles are created by the system. And I'll show you those in a second. But this user here, this AP test user, I went ahead and created this, but what I did was I utilized the SQL authentication type instead of the Windows type. And so what happens is it creates a user in the executive dashboard, the SQL gateway database, and restricts them to whatever roles I have. So I created a custom role called AP test. And so we'll log into the executive dashboard as the AP test, and you can see the impact of that. So maybe they'll get you more information on security. So here's the roles. The ones with the little locks are system generated. So you have accounts payable, accounts receivable, cash management, job costs. And like I said, report designer. I created one called project manager, created one called AP test, and you can create as many as you want. And so what you do with these roles, is, like I said, is assign users, but then more importantly is you assign what's called features. And features are essentially the reports or the dashboard views. So any user that is associated with the accounts payable role will have access to these dashboard components in accounts payable. And then, I mean, you could see pretty much AR role has AR components, cash management has cash management. The AP test one I created, I just gave them two. I said, you know, I only want him to see the AP invoice summary bar and the AP invoice vendor summary. So I've limited that role down to just those. So again, you don't have to give everybody access to the bank balances and cash management. You know, again, you control that here. So that is the SQL Gateway Administrator. Again, you download it and install it, and it will do all the heavy lifting behind the scenes on your server for you between the SQL database and the Timberline database. So now we actually get to the actual heading of today's webinar, the executive dashboard. So this is my executive dashboard login. Again, it's using the same type of concept. I'm using my Windows credentials, or I could use my actual SQL credentials if I uncheck that, and we'll do that with that AP test in a second. So I'm going to use my Windows credentials and log in. Okay, so this is the executive dashboard. A couple key components here. This is actually telling you when your data was most recently updated. As you can see, I updated my data today. This refresh does not update your data. It actually just makes sure that this, you know, because if you if you leave in the middle of the night, if you leave at 5 o'clock and you leave this open and then come back in the next day, it's still going to say the same thing. So if overnight it had updated your database, you hit the refresh button and it's going to go ahead and tell you what the latest data is. So again, that helps you to understand where the data is at that you're looking at. Is it a day old, a week old, a year old? These are my dashboards here. The ones with the locks on them are the canned ones that come with the software. I created this one just earlier, set it up. These are all the key components here. You can actually create a dashboard with one giant window, one report. You don't have to have a bunch of different reports. So if I go back to this one, I made this one my home. By clicking that, I can switch that. If I go to a different one, I could go ahead and set the default. So when I log in, that was the one that first comes up. I also have a couple options. I can turn on the dark theme, which, I think it's a personal preference. I don't know if that's easier to see or if this is easier to see. Obviously, it's probably something that is a personal preference. Show parameters. This tells you what the report is based on. Well, they give you this toggle box so that you don't have to, you get more screen room, because you can, once you start to learn the parameters, you're pretty good. So again, here's all of the reports. These are the widgets or the dashboards that are available to you. So when you create a custom dashboard, you can just drag these over. Like if I go back to my CEO one, there's my components. I could say I want to see the pie chart, and basically it says where do you want to put it. I go, I don't know how much more crowded can I make this screen? Let's see. Yep. Drop it. There it goes. There you go. That's not too bad. So again, and then obviously it wants me to save it. If I don't save it, then any changes will be lost. So I don't know if you guys are looking at the numbers, but like if I look at the accounts payable or the accounts payable or accounts receivable aging, everything's 90 days and older. Well, again, I'm using the Timberline sample data, and that's all set to May of 2015. So if I click on edit parameters, I can go ahead and tell it to use a different date. So I'm actually getting, and I could use invoice date or accounting date. And I can also filter, I could also filter by company. So I only have one company set up in the system. So it's only pulling that one company. I hit OK. And now this looks a little better. Close this, get more space. So now you get a true aging. At this level, if I wanted to, I can actually print this. I could export it to Excel, export it to a PowerPoint or a PDF. But one of the things I could do with it being interactive is actually drill down. So once I drill down, I create a second report. Well, the graph was fine. I think I could read the graph at that level. I don't know if you guys can see it. So you can break this out and expand it to the complete window, and then it's easier to see, and you can drill down. I don't know what your screen resolutions are. I'm able to read, 100A1 electric and the amounts. Again, that's where that options, maybe the dark is better to see. I don't know. Don't want to cause anybody any problems. We'll see. Toggling back and forth. But at this point, if I wanted to, I could. This is the AP Open Invoice Vendor Summary. If I wanted to, I could drill down and go and see what invoices make up that current balances and get that information at a more detailed level, showing the open invoices. And if I want to go back up a level, I can click the up key and then drill down on another vendor. One of the nice things about the report is that, and I get asked this a lot when clients ask me, what is this report doing? And that's a Timberline report or a Chris report. I don't know until I go inside the report. But what they've done in the executive dashboard is they've actually created a nice summary that tells you exactly where the data is that it's retrieving. It's telling you how the parameters work. It's giving you the technical details. So it gives you a lot more information so you can kind of see what you're getting as part of this view, this summary view. And if I wanted to get this back to normal, I could click the arrow key so that one pops it up, pops it out. So that you know, is one of the functionality. Again, if I wanted to create my custom ones, I am limited to these current report views. And again, I've heard talk about in the future these are going to be customizable, but as of right now, these are the reports that you get, and they you know, they cover the AP, AR, job cost. So we could go to the job cost one. Now let's see. And so you get kind of a job profit trending. You got job breakdowns. If I drill down, they'll give me a job cost summary, if you guys can see that. So then I got showing my jobs that are not profitable is in red. And then I can drill down from there and get my detailed cost breakdown. And again, like I said, you create a brand new dashboard from scratch. I'll give it a name and description. I can copy an existing one or just create a brand new blank one. Helps if I give it a name. And see it's blank in here, and then you just start dragging them over. And this, again, this one, you know, if I wanted to, I could have this one dashboard, and it's one giant, you know, cash management bank balances. And, you know, I can have that as the only one, you know, very customizable. So now that, you know, again, I logged in as super user as myself. So if I log out and switch to my AP test, you know, I'm on my computer, so that home screen that I set is going to be the home screen that pops up. But because I only gave that user access to the AP window, that's all they see. These other ones that were already created in the canned cash snapshot are blocked. And again, I only gave the user access to the accounts payable open invoice summary bar graph. And if I drill down, I've got the pie chart, the vendor summary. And then, as I showed you earlier, you could drill down to the vendor detail, but I didn't give him access to that. So he can't see the AP open invoice detail because I controlled that in the security set. So, you know, you do have the ability to secure the different views, so to speak, or reports that they call them. And that is it. I mean, once you get it set up, it's pretty straightforward, just having these little widgets and saving them and then having the ability to drill down, and this is your actual Timberline data. So that being said, I will gladly open it up if anybody has any questions. I don't know, Tim, if you can see the question.
Yep. Great. So let's see. Question number one: did these data warehouses pull information from service management and PO?
The answer is no. Sorry, and I don't know what the status is on that, as far as if they're going to pull that into the SQL Gateway.
All right, and do you know which modules, which Sage modules the dashboard can look at?
Well, it's all modules other than the service management, purchasing, and inventory. So it's all the accounting and project management tables. So all AR, AP, GL, job costs, project management, payroll. I'm just double checking service. I'm 99% sure service is not here. No, it's not. Yeah. So it's only the stuff that is in under the main PV data. So. Next question. And again, I don't know. I mean, they always talk about adding service and purchasing and inventory to everything. So we'll see. I haven't heard specifically if that's on the future list.
All right. Here's another question. Can we import other program information into SQL to use with this program?
You could import other information into SQL to use in a SQL database. Here's the Sage SQL Gateway database. And as you can see, this is for all you IT nerds on the phone right now, or the guy who asked that question. This is the Timberline data warehouse that got created, and it creates the views and the tables, and it locks them down, and it creates some other views and stuff. And I can, get all geeky and show you the different tables and views and stuff. But there's nothing stopping you from creating multiple databases within this instance of SQL Gateway. You could theoretically come in here and create multiple tables that aren't related to Timberline. So this is a SQL database, and you are the administrator of it. Whoever sets it up, the Sage SQL Gateway. When you initially set it up, you set up your user and you're the admin. So the long-winded answer was what I just gave you. The short answer is yes. So.
All right. Is there a cost for the program?
Oh no, I guess I should have covered that in the beginning. Sorry. If you're on support and maintenance and you can get to the knowledge base, basically, you come in here, you just download it, and it is free, so to speak, as long as you're on support and maintenance.
All right. Next question is, can you use tablets, specifically iPads, with this program?
You can, but the problem is you have to be logged into your network. Even if, because you can't. It's not web. The executive dashboards are not web enabled, because when I logged in, if you noticed, it's asking me, my Windows credentials, and it's asking me the server. Well, if I'm out, on Wi-Fi, or not even on Wi-Fi, if I'm on cellular on a tablet, I can't see, your server back at the office through the internet. You'd have to create a VPN on the tablet. So it's doable, but it's not, right out of the box, so to speak. I mean, you could use them on tablets within your office if you log into the Windows domain. So you'd have to be on a Surface. You couldn't use it on an iPad, unless you have some kind of Windows login emulation or something. Does that make sense? Whoever asked that question, if that doesn't make sense, I can try to rephrase it.
Does that make sense, Alex? Yes. Yep. Okay. She said thanks, yes. Right. Or he. One of those names. All right.
Anything else?
We are caught up on questions right now.
All right. Well, I know we slated for 45 minutes. If anybody had any follow-up questions or add-on questions. Like I said, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of information in the future. I do know that they are going to enhance the product in the next release, is what I've been told. And I guess they're corresponding that release to the release of version 16.1 of Sage, hopefully slated to come out in 2016, hence the 16. But anyway, so again, it's a real powerful, simple to use, information packed product. I know this is not part of the executive dashboard concept, but this SQL database, the Sage SQL Gateway, was initially designed for the executive dashboard, but in conjunction with that is you could actually create crystal reports off of your Sage SQL database. And so what I've done with a few clients is taken their existing crystal reports that take half hour, an hour or something to run, and we set up a SQL database warehouse, and then I changed the report to point to the SQL database, and it's literally night and day when you run the reports. So that was one of the goals of Sage creating the SQL Gateway, is to make an easy to use data warehouse, because there's another product out there. It's a third-party product, you can buy it, but again, it does cost money, and this is free, especially if you use the Sage SQL Service Express installation that comes with it. There's no charge for the database either. I don't know if you've ever looked at the cost of a Microsoft SQL database, but they're not cheap if you're using one of the standard versions or enterprise versions. But again, just from a purely reporting standpoint, and not necessarily using the executive dashboards, they have, let me show you. One of the things that I kind of glossed over was these are all the sample reports that come with the Sage SQL Gateway. One of the biggies that I do are accounts receivable agings, because again, those start to take forever. So the two reports that I've mainly customized for reporting are AR agings and job cost reports, because of the immense data that's in job cost and AR over time if you're a larger client. But essentially, we could do that with any of the accounting project management databases, so any report that you have. And again, you put the report on the menu in Timberline, just as if it is any other report. It's a crystal report. It's just pointed to a different database, and when the end user runs it, they just need to know that this data is from as of yesterday or last night. It's not real time. So you can't make an adjusting entry and then rerun the report. It won't show up until it syncs the data warehouse.
So Russ, and this is a question, are the canned reports modifiable? Are you saying yes. They are? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That, in fact, I'm modifying. In fact, I don't start from scratch because I'm lazy. Well, I'm lazy, plus I don't want to. Gosh, I got to remember where they were. Yeah, so basically, Sage has provided the canned reports, and then you can take those crystal reports, and then again, anybody who's familiar with SSRS, that's Sage SQL Reporting Services. That's the reporting engine that's built into Microsoft SQL. You have some sample reports that they've taken a standard AR aging by job, exactly the same layout as yours in Timberline, under Timberline Report Designer or Crystal, and they've recreated it in SSRS, and they've recreated it in Crystal. So what I do is I grab these reports, whatever the client was, one of them is going to be very similar to what they're looking for, and modify it. So yep. So that once you install the Sage SQL Gateway, you'll get this new folder under your Sage folder on your server. Because I'm on my standalone computer, but this is going to be on your server under program data on the server. Any other questions? All good? Everyone has way more knowledge than they need. Okay. It's not as scary as you guys thought it would be, right? Very, very easy to use, user friendly. So
great.
Well, if we don't have any more questions, yeah. I'm good.
Yeah, Russ, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and end this. If you guys do want to watch this same presentation or information again live, we're doing it again at 3 o'clock. If you go to our website at alliancesg.com/events, and you can click on the link, and that's where there's a registration link to register for this session, which is now done, and also the next one at 3 o'clock Eastern, which is noon Pacific time. Anyway, thanks again, Russ, and we'll let everybody get on with your day.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right, bye-bye.